On the 1st of January 2024, if you had invested a million naira in Bitcoin, today you would have had nothing less than 2.1 million naira. Based on the price of Bitcoin, markets are literally going frenzy, and I love to call it the Donald Trump effect. That's what is literally happening across all markets. 2 weeks after the US election, we're still seeing the market literally going frenzy. This is Market Pulse on NewsCentral in partnership with Nairametrics. Let's take a look at what is happening across different markets. Today, we're spotlighting some of the most critical developments shaping markets and investments across Nigeria and beyond. First, we're looking at the Afreximbank, which has approved $200 million finance facility for BUA Group just to support its expansion project. Now, as BUA Group ramps up operation, we're seeing that this funding is quite exciting for lots of prospects for Nigeria's industrial sector, and the questions about how such investment can drive economic growth in the middle of all the challenges that the manufacturing sector and the infrastructural deficit we have in this part of the world. Also, we're going to be taking a look at what Access Bank is doing. Access Holdings Plc has acquired a majority stake in AfrAsia Bank, the Mauritius' fourth largest financial institution. Now, this strategic move positions Access Holdings for enhanced Pan-African operations. But what does this mean for the Nigerian banking sector? Its role in driving intra-African trade under the AfCFTA agreement. Let's break it down and explore what these stories mean for investors, businesses, and the future of financial markets. I'm Frank Fagball. We're starting with what is happening across the globe, the global stock market. We're seeing that with the global stock market, we're seeing what is happening. The global financial scene is buzzing with major shifts across sectors, each giving us a taste of where the economy and the investor sentiment might be headed. From pushing forward on financial inclusivity to game-changing moves in the entertainment and a comeback in the hospitality sector, it's clear that new opportunities and challenges are literally emerging. Let's start with a milestone in the financial inclusivity. According to the FDIC, more American households have access to bank accounts now than ever before, thanks to rising employment and digital banking innovations and targeted outreach efforts. It's a huge step forward, but the journey isn't over gaps with what is happening across the sector, especially for low-income and minority group. Economists are optimistic, saying that greater banking access could mean stronger savings and reduce reliance on costly alternative financial institutions. But here is the twist. As banks shift towards digital finances and digital services, there's a risk of leaving the most vulnerable populations behind. From investors, they are two-sided, and you see what is happening while also exploring financial innovations that could make banking truly inclusive. In the world of entertainment, we're seeing that Disney has also brought some sparkle back to Wall Street. Its latest earnings exceeding expectations, with Disney Plus hitting a major milestone, a first ever profit. It's a moment of resilience for Disney as it faces tough challenges in cable TV and other traditional segments. We're seeing that a lot of competition has come up in the entertainment scene as regards television, and that's where you're seeing a few competitors giving Disney a run for their money. A lot of analysts have said that it's Disney's knack for producing top-notch content and expanding internationally that gives it a leading edge. Investors are also thrilled, and Disney shares responded with a jump. But even as Disney Plus becomes a revenue powerhouse, and content cost and shifting views, a lot of tastes in the industry, many people are literally changing their taste as regards content, and that is literally affecting everything happening in the world of entertainment. Meanwhile, we're seeing what is happening. Hilton Worldwide is making waves on its own in the hospitality sector, but expanding its stock buyback program. And investors are saying, what is really literally going to be the outcome of this when we are done, at the end of the fourth quarter of 2024? We'll keep our fingers crossed and see what all these stocks have up their sleeves. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at what is happening with the NGX, the top 5 gainers, the top 5 losers. How is the market performing? We're edging into the weekend. Is the market tanking? Because this time last week, we saw consistent decline in the market as regards the NGX. Let's see whether today market is going to be repeating same thing as it happened last week. The NGX market experienced a slight decline today, with the all-share index dropping by 0.25% to close to 97,233 points. We're seeing, or see it live on your screen, 97,233 points, 0.25% decline in the market. 58 trillion naira, that's the market capitalization. Just 2 trillion, 1.9 trillion to get to the 60 trillion naira mark. And a lot of investors and analysts have been saying that before the end of this year, we might be edging into the 60 trillion naira mark. And if we don't edge into the 60 trillion naira mark, hopefully the first quarter of 2024, when we have the Dangote Group literally listing on the floor of the NGX, we should see market capitalization edging beyond the 60 trillion naira mark. Let's take a look at what is happening with the top 5 gainers, the top 5 losers who made it to our list this time around. How many banking stocks do we have? None, as a matter of fact. Flour mills topping the chart, 10% gains in the market. TIP is 10% gains also, 2 naira 53 kobo. And then we're seeing John Holt, 7 naira 2 kobo, 9.86% gains in the market. Sooner Assurance is also there. We're seeing Intergene's there as well, 9.85% gains in the market. Sooner Assurance, 2 naira 48 kobo. They've been consistently among the top gainers in the last 1 week. Just 2 days missing from the top gainers, and it's quite an exciting week for Sooner Assurance. I'm sure investors are going to be interested in what is really happening to that particular to Sooner Assurance, because they've been trailblazing in the last 1 week. Let's take a look at what is happening with the top losers who made it to the bottom of the pyramid this time around. Abe Boss is there, 2.2 naira 40 kobo, 9.77% decline in the market. ABC Transport, 1 naira 15 kobo, 9.45% decline. The best literally took over. There's 5 top losers. Corn oil among the top 5 losers, 244 naira for a unit share, 6.15% decline. Last week it was 10% decline corn oil had on the floor of the NGX, but this week we're seeing them 6.15% decline. BUA Cement made it to the top 5 losers list, 92 naira per unit share, negative 5.9% decline in the market. Custodian Assurance, we're seeing them 12 naira. That's the price for unit share, 4.75% decline in the market. The most traded stocks, Access Corporation literally dominated trading activities with 60.35, and you're seeing the Access Corporation is really doing a lot as regards that. 60.35 million shares traded so far in just 1 day. It's valued at 1.5 billion naira. UBA and Zenith also made it to the top 5 traded stocks. UBA, Access Corporation, Zenith Bank, those are the 3 banking stocks that made it to the top 5 trading stocks this time around. Owando is also among the top 5 traded stocks. 15 million volume of stocks traded, and we're seeing that value is 950 million naira. UCAP made it all as well. And then we edge into what is happening with our currencies. Nigerian naira against the dollar, 1,684 naira 50 kobo against the US dollar. And then we're seeing the Ghanaian cedis, 16.10 Ghanaian cedis against the 1 US dollar. The South African rand, 18.25 South African rand against 1 US dollar. Let's edge into what is happening. We're in the northern region of Africa. The Moroccan dirham, 10 Moroccan dirham, 1 US dollar. And then Egyptian pound, 49.35. They've been consistently on the 49. They've been stable on the 49.35 level of late, and that's why you're seeing investors literally flocking in to those countries, because stability is fundamental when we're talking about foreign direct investment, and when we're talking about your economy being a safe haven for investors' funds. Kenyan shillings, 129 Kenyan shillings is what we have in our currency exchange. Up next is the pulse of the day. We have Ambrose Udiaba, who's the head of securities trading, Planet Capital Limited. He's going to be joining us for the pulse of the day. Picking up the pulse of the day now, joining us is Ambrose Udiaba, who's the head of securities and trading, Planet Capital Limited. You're very much welcome to the pulse of the day, Ambrose. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? You're very much welcome to the Pulse of the Day. Let's talk about what BUA is doing. BUA, another group that has been driving a number of expansion projects. Not so long ago, they signed a deal with Turkish milling equipment manufacturers, and more recently secured a $200 million finance facility from Afreximbank for its expansion project. What's your take about all of this as regards the market and how they're performing of late? Ambrose Diaba, can you hear me clearly?
The news, around the finance around the finance for Afreximbank, to the BUA Foods is a good one. I think this type of news is usually the news that will also move the market, make the stock of the company to experience some rally. Why we are not seeing that in the market now, I also think is about the investors, sentiment as to, when exactly with these things, begin to bring back the expected return. But is it a good news? Yes, it's a good news. And we also know that from the Afreximbank, they have been able to fund $150 million from the $200 million. And the BUA also has said that this funding is actually for expansion and then advancing in the area of manufacturing, infrastructure, and then the enemy sectors, which also they play. And we also can agree with me that these sectors where this company plays are critical sectors, in our country presently, and also they are also keen in the food industry. So by and large, I think it's a good news, and I also think that investors are just watching, but it's a good, stock or a good company to position with for long-term investors.
Yeah.
I think this news in the long run will bring a positive impact and positive effect. So investors, can start taking positions now before there will be a kind of rush, or before the stock will actually start experiencing rally. So it's a good one. Why the investors are also, waiting and then expecting to see, some, these fundings, bringing back the expected return. So the expectations is huge on the company, but I think it's a good news, and I will also encourage long-term investors to begin to take position in the company.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit to what is happening in the banking sector. Access Bank has taken up a number of strategic measures and acquisition. Its latest, a majority stake in Mauritius' fourth largest bank, AfrAsia. What's your take about this? Do you think this is appealing for a lot of investors and the outlook in the market, especially as regards investor sentiment?
So the news around Access Bank is a good news, is a positive news indeed, and we can also see, that also affecting, the share price of the stock. For the past few days now, it has experienced some levels of appreciation. The appreciation is also a good one, and I remember vividly through the far behind the figure for the rights issue. They did these things. Investors were informed by the CEO that more acquisitions will happen, and they also plan in ending those acquisitions by the end of this year, and then begin to harmonize their books by first quarter 2025. So if you follow that trend, you can see that in the space of 1 month, there is 3 major news, which is a positive one, that come out from the Access Bank, informing the investing public of this major news. Such news, the MRA with IRM pension, which is also a good one, and then the approval in principle okay, to establish a subsidiary bank in Namibia. Also, I think these acquisitions, these expansions, these mergers and acquisitions is a good one for the company. However, I think also investors are really waiting for the proper consolidation of, the company's books. But looking at it strategically, I think acquiring this bank, okay, and the Mauritius is also a good one. If you look at the financial statement, of the bank for ended June 30th this year, 2024, you also see some positive from the bank, the Access Bank acquired, and those positive is also what will be bring or the bank will be contributing to the Access Bank. So it's a good one for the bank. It's also a good one for the investors. For investors also, that expect or long-term investors is also a good one. And if you see that in the market, you also notice that within this space of this news coming to the market, the stock has started experiencing some rallies and begin to gain some levels of appreciation. So it's a good news.
Okay.
And investors are also, behaving in line with that.
Okay. Speaking of its performance, I don't know if you have a friend who keeps eating and eating, but doesn't tend to add any weight. It looks like that is what is happening to Access Bank. Lots of acquisitions, lots of measures, but its market capitalization doesn't seem to increase, especially on the NGX. From an investor standpoint, this dominance doesn't seem to reflect in its market capitalization. In terms of value, it also ranks amongst its Fugger's pair. It's like the lowest amongst its Fugger's pair. What do you think is the mismatch for all of this? It doesn't, all this acquisition and merger doesn't reflect in its performance in the market.
Okay, so thank you so much. So, like in your words, so when you have a friend who kept eating, I think when the friend is eating also, you also, keep watching the friend and then see after eating all this, what strength, okay, what exactly is he going to be doing, okay, from the eating. And like you said, investors, I think, they are slowing kind of to see the effect of these acquisitions. But I also think that, the bank is also, fundamentally okay. If you also look at the Q3 report, you will also notice some significant, improvement, okay, in terms of performance, in terms of earnings, okay. And then these acquisitions also, by the time the proper consolidation happens, by Q1 2025, I think the company or the stock will begin to, take its place where it's supposed to be. But now I also think it's a good investment for, investors that are not taking position in the stock. But if you also look at it, vis-a-vis what the stock price is now, and then when they came out for the right issue, you will notice some significant, appreciation in the price. Okay, the rights issue was 1975, and today the stock is trading above 24 naira. That is a very significant one. So fundamentally, I think the stock is okay. These acquisitions will bring return. I think the investors are waiting to see how far with these acquisitions, mergers, expansion plan, how far it's going to be, and then how far it's going to contribute to the bottom line of the company. But by and large, it's a good news for the company and also for the investors.
Do you think it's a liquidity issue? Or you think investors are just keeping their hands crossed to see what's going to be the outcome at the end of fourth quarter?
So, well, I don't think otherwise. I think investors are just watching what will happen. But if you also follow your early reports on, the stocks that dominate the market today in terms of volume, you also notice that happened in Access Bank, and Access Bank is one of them. That is also a pointer that investors are beginning to wake up, to begin to position themselves, to leverage or to participate in the return of these acquisitions and these mergers.
Okay.
So it's a good one.
Thank you for joining us, Ambrose Diaba, Head of Securities and Trading, Planet Capital Limited.
Thank you, Frank.
Up next is Key Metrics. We'll be right back. Today, we continue to look at the potential economic impact of Donald Trump's return to the presidency and how it might influence key sectors of the global economy. Trump's previous administration set the stage for policies and heavily favored industries such as energy industry, the defense industry, and also infrastructure. Then the financial industry was also one of those. With his return, these sectors are also under the spotlight, presenting opportunities for investors and businesses to capitalize on shifting priorities. Here is how this sector could perform. All these four sectors, how they could literally perform. First is the energy sector. Trump's fossil fuel stance is likely to revitalize oil and gas and coal production, and it's most likely going to help those who are in the business of producing oil. But the big question is, will Nigeria benefit from the Trump administration as regards oil? I think it's a big question we need an answer to, especially the answers coming in from the Minister of Petroleum. Let's see what we have. The second sector in our list is the defense and Eurospace. It focuses on national security. It has lots of focus on national security and military strength. And all of this is historically driven up by defense budgets during Trump's tenure. We're seeing a lot of expectations as regards that. His defense budget is always very, very massive and large, but then he doesn't like to interfere with what is happening across different countries. He just likes to put America first and focus on America. And there are lots of conversations around the fact that what is happening, the brewing war in the Middle East is most likely going to come to an end. A lot of analysts are saying, and it's going to have a somewhat of a negative impact on the price of oil, because the price of oil is going to plummet a little bit. And you know, as an oil-driven economy like that of Nigeria, are we going to benefit from that? What have we been doing since when we had the price of oil a little bit above our oil benchmark? Remember, the price of oil rose to as high as $84 per barrel, but that didn't reflect in our earnings from oil, solely because we weren't producing as much as our OPEC plus quota. OPEC plus quota was 1.5 million barrels per day, but we're still hovering around the 1.2, 1.3 million barrels, and we have a long way to go as regards that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, analysts are literally having their eyes gleamed on the screen to find out how the market is going to perform under his administration. That's it on today's episode of Market Pulse. We continue to track the pulse of the market, 4 p.m. West African time, every weekday with Market Pulse here on NewsCentral in partnership with Nairametrics. I'm Frank Fago. I'll leave you with the Global Markets Index and what is happening across Africa.